Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Gabby Stubbs. I'm the APAC Product Marketing Lead for Adobe's Audience Manager, Real-Time CDP and Intelligence Services. Today's session is all about the changing data proposition between brands and consumers and insights into a recent study we conducted with Advantis, covering what a data win-win looks like for both. I'm also delighted today to welcome and be joined by David Richards. David is the Head of Audience Automation Analytics at Tiga. And David's going to join us very shortly to share some of his insights and experience on the topic. But first of all, let's kick off. So as the business world rapidly evolves and has even intensified during the COVID-19 pandemic, and digital engagement continues to increase, it's even more important to focus now on customers and deliver great experiences. Whilst many organisations believe they're very digitally mature, there's still significant room for businesses to grow further. Security remains a very primary issue for these businesses as companies strive to adapt in response to uncertainty. They're increasingly turning towards digital to be able to solve for this, not only as a foundation for innovation, but also in regard to business resilience. And digital technology needs customer data, obviously. It's that fuel that drives personal relevant engagement. And now more than ever, brands need to be able to understand their customers, which means they need to be very intentional, very thoughtful, and obviously very respectful about the relationship with data. And we'll need to show some really tangible benefits to be able to justify data collection moving forward. But consumers or people have a very complicated relationship with their data. They believe that there's inherent value in sharing data with companies, but they're increasingly becoming uneasy about security, privacy, and the value that they're actually receiving. Now, for us, this data landscape is really changing quite rapidly. We see more regulations, more fears around data and security, as mentioned, and a lot more security on what companies do with consumer data. However, there's still a significant opportunity for data to both serve customers and company needs. So what we're now seeing is it's actually time for a new data deal. And with this new data deal, companies must put customers first by ensuring that that exchange of data is ethical and transparent, but also reciprocal. Customers will give data and in return get a better experience. And when we see those data practices positioned in this way, companies can actually differentiate from the competition by building greater trust, becoming more empathetic, and still delivering powerful and customized customer experiences. So those three tenets of that new data deal are transparency, empathy, and value. So it all starts with companies being proactive and building trust with their customers. On the surface, it looks like efforts made by brands to improve transparency are actually working. At least that's what businesses seem to think. And certainly customers are seeming to be having more control over their data. However, in looking for ways for businesses to start earning consumer trust, there's an interesting nuance in our results suggesting that transparency or providing security customers are craving may actually not be enough. So while for businesses, the path to trust is better communication about data use, businesses need to be really mindful of the gap here. What consumers actually want is more control. So businesses need to be able to evolve to meet these expectations. So what that means is thrive not only with transparency, but actively engage with customers on the use of their data. The second tenet is empathy. Be empathetic to customers and try to truly understand what it is that they value. So taking an empathetic approach to your data marketing practices and to customer preferences means that when you do ask for their data, you have very good reason for doing so, and it needs to be primarily focused on enhancing that customer experience. But developing empathy for customers doesn't just happen, it actually comes from a broader company culture. And that's a culture that actually puts customers first and applies this customer-centric focus to their data practices, as well as experiences that they actually deliver. The third and final tenet of the new data deal requires companies that collect consumer data to be able to deliver value in return. So make that data collection worth consumers' time. And on that point, note very specifically that great experiences really do stand out. Personalization is what drives the best customer experiences when it is done right. And all of that hinges on truly meeting customer needs and most of all, treating them like people and not like data, especially in times of need. So when it's done right, as I said, it can help brands start to outperform competitors and increase loyalty. So for customers, that personalization is actually not an option. It delivers the value that they strongly desire. So in short, data can really unlock new possibilities, but that relationship with consumers needs to be built on a win-win basis. So thrive with transparency through efforts including obtaining appropriate consent from consumers and develop a data transparency strategy with an eye towards the customer experience. Exercise empathy by taking an empathetic approach to your data marketing practices. And remember that empathy and company culture, go hand in hand. Deliver value through improved data integration to be able to unify the customer experience across channels. Track your metrics for continual improvement of that experience as well. And then we see things like enhanced in-store experiences and smoother point of sale of transactions, for example, or some of the highlights that customers expect in this particular space. So as our research shows, there's still a very wide discrepancy between how consumers feel about brands collecting and using their data and what they get in return. But by embracing those core tenets of the new data deal, transparency, empathy, and value, every company has the opportunity to be able to close this gap and build greater trust and loyalty with their customers. So I want to bring David into the conversation now and hear some of his really lived experiences in this particular area. So again, thank you, David, for joining us. I'm wondering whether we start at the beginning. First and foremost, obviously, people will be very, very familiar with Ticketek as a business, a very established 40-year-old business, but it's actually the analytics and data science arm, TIGA, which is charged with the management, the enhancement and activation of data, the data assets across the broader business, right? So, if we do think about what we've just discussed, then what are those tenets? Are they a surprise to you, or does it sit very well within the context of what happens from a TIGA perspective?
Hi, Gabby. Look, to be honest, TG operates on a similar value metrics across the business that we're in as well. TG Analytics consists of a team of experienced, trusted leaders who've been entrusted to push boundaries of the current media landscape for data analytics and data science without exposing the company or its partners to risk, which will undermine the company and the trust that it has with our customers. And I think it's safe to say that we have a healthy appetite for change whilst respecting the opportunity to deliver trusted services to our customers. Look, I just want to say on the empathy side, TG has applied and established in an easy to understand language throughout our privacy policy and terms and conditions, a format which we hope customers feel comfortable with and arm them with the knowledge that they need when it comes to what they have agreed to and how we're using their data to grow TG. TIGA is primarily focused on enhancing the customer experience, both on ours and our partner sites. We do this by matching and consolidating customer insights into creating a single customer view through visualization tools, which we can push out through our DMP for personalized campaign activation across ours and our partner digital campaigns. And look, transparency, we've deployed a series of content requirements across TEG sites. Each new member is required to read our privacy policy and collection statements prior to joining and purchasing tickets. We clearly outline with examples how the data will be collected and used across the business. And look, value, TEG is has a significant number of ad and marketing technology integrations to promote and secure the sale of live event tickets across Ticketek. And each of those technology platforms has been carefully selected to unite and create a positive customer experience. So, TIGA operates a number of technology platforms. Our Adobe DMP is at the core of our ability to deliver personalised and targeted digital campaigns to over 60 destinations throughout Australia.
Wow, it actually sounds like a role model for what good practices obviously looks like. Obviously, I know from that perspective, certainly from a TEG point of view, the ability for you to be able to deliver your business is obviously fundamentally built on a digital and data foundation. But I think also because of the offering that you actually have in terms of primarily, delivery of tickets as obviously as one arm of that business. You guys were obviously one of the early pioneers in actually adapting to digital and the use of that, as I said, that data as the cornerstone. And I think for us, I spoke a little bit about trust within that context, and you touched on it there as well. It comes up time and time again. If you cast your mind back to when you first started on this journey kind of thing, how difficult was it to actually earn that trust that was required from customers for them to pass over, that data exchange in this scenario for you?
Look, To be honest, I think it's testament to the empathy and respect TEG has shown its customers when starting TEG Analytics data collection and its personalisation journey. We have over 16 million registered members just here in Australia alone. Our terms and conditions and privacy policy clearly outline how the audience data is collected and used. Members have a single contact point, clearly and frequently outlined throughout our privacy policy. The privacy officer is responsible for liaising with Ticketek members and the rest of the TEG business units. And we've kept the wording simple, and appropriate examples across our online platforms have been provided to help members understand exactly what it is that we're collecting and doing with their data. And I think ultimately that builds trust. Also, members can request to see members can request to see and correct the data that Ticketek holds about them. And members can also access and update their data in the website under their member profile.
Right. So it does feel like, as you said, there's that piece that sits around the transparency. It seems like you really have nailed. And I did speak about, obviously, that value proposition as well. Did you get to a point where one sort of was a stronger driver than the other, or it needed to be, all ships sailing in the same direction to be able to really make it meaningful and more impactful? Like, was there one thing that stood out more as a key differentiator?
Yeah, look, I think TG Analytics' primary purpose is to transform data into actionable insights. From the outset, it was recognised that TEG's scale of data was similar to that of Facebook and Google here in Australia. From there, we identified our unique offering has been to bring to market cultural and transactional data, which truly sets TEG data apart from the rest of what we've got here in the local market.
Right. And once you've sort of developed that, and you talked about the scale, obviously, how did you actually improve the data integration you had across all those assets to be able to really unify that experience and continue to bring that value across all of your channels that you're delivering?
Yeah, look, I think to be fair, it really does start with talking to people to explore what solutions we've got currently available to us and taking a deep dive into the mechanics of what the Ticketek website also has to offer. The Ticketek website is the output of hundreds of people working a combined total of around 14,000 hours a week. Look, that ultimately is there to ensure the sale of tickets for over 30,000 live events sold annually. For a large part, data technology platform integrations have been led by what's been available in market. When we've found that there's not a product available, we've often turned to Adobe to help us with custom solutions. And to our data science team, who've been instrumental in building our own custom audience solutions. I mentioned that we've got over 60 connections in our DMP connecting partners to our commercialized data sets, helping them identify their customers more accurately as well. And I think also industry trends and standardizations also drive how we manage data integrations and unification across the business. Customers for TIGA are not just website users. We also have a number of key data buying partnerships as well. This means that we also have to be mindful that we meet a series of industry requirements and standards as well. And we're also starting to see the data industry mature with new standardizations like the IAB data transparency labeling coming into it. And these will make it easier for buying customers to really clearly identify what's inside the various data segments available in market.
Right. Obviously, David, one of the last things is that from an internal perspective, what are the three key things that you think exhibit empathy within TEG?
But yeah, I definitely say TG's got an empathetic approach to the way that it manages customer care. TG's focus on encouraging open discussion and safe learning across its environment has definitely mitigated risks and created an open environment for asking questions. And I think this is demonstrated by the fact that we've got staff who've been here for 20 plus years with some second generation. And I think this is testament to the culture and care TG have for its business and its customers.
Fantastic. As always, David, we always run out of time. Thanks again. A massive thanks for being our guest and sharing your insights. And thank you again to everyone for joining us.